The fall harvest is the culmination of months of hard work and planning for farmers here in our area, but before they can reap the benefits, the farmers must make sure their crops survive the sometimes erratic spring weather. Spring is a time of rebirth and growth, but also ups and downs in the weather. Spring weather for local farmers can make or break their livelihood for the year. This season has already delivered a roller coaster of weather conditions that has impacted local farmers, including Jeff MacQueen, an apple and peach farmer in Holland.
Last weekend we had 70-degree weather. It didn't affect us yet, but if it would have been that way for the next 4 or 5 days, then the apples and peaches would have broke dormancy.
During the winter months, apple trees rest in dormancy with their buds closed for protection from the elements. Just like you and I stay indoors to keep warm during the winter, apple buds do the same. A prolonged stretch of mild weather cues flowering, and an early season warm spell may mean trouble for apple trees.
Normal bloom for apples in our area is around the 8th of May.
Okay.
And if it did turn warm like that, we've already had it end of April.
And once the apple trees are in full bloom, a hard freeze can be devastating. The MacQueens know the pain of losing a crop due to a warm spell followed by a hard freeze.
That could make or break you on a crop. Yeah. It's just 1 or 2 degrees.
These ups and downs in spring weather have grown more common in recent years, making the job of local farmers more difficult.
It seems like it's more common than not the last 10 years. Before we never thought about it. We just wait till spring, they'd flower, we'd go on.
Due to the impacts of climate change and variable weather, many farmers, including the MacQueens, have had to adapt.
The only thing we do now is try to do more frost protection.
Many gardeners are familiar with covering up plants on frosty cold nights, but the MacQueens employ other higher tech methods such as drainage tiling and wind machines to circulate air.
We were supposed to get 24, so we hired 2 helicopters, we had smudge pots, we had wind machines, but the problem that night was it was such a clear night. There really wasn't any warm air to invert down.
While cold temperatures can ruin a season's crop, so can flooding rainfall.
Apples, they don't like wet feet, their roots. And what we plant now are more surface roots. They don't really get down that deep. And so if you have a wet area, it stunts the growth of that tree.
Standing water not only stunts tree growth, but can increase the risk of invasive pests and fungal infections.
Anytime you get so many hours of wetness and then the humidity is high, we only have so many hours to go back in and cover up.
This cycle of covering up trees and spraying for insects seems endless during the wet spring months, but at the end of the day, MacQueen relies on the trusty 10-day forecast.
You never know in the springtime how much you're going to spray. It all depends on my weatherman.
Whatever the weather, the WTOL 11 weather team will keep you safe and informed this spring. Reporting in Toledo, John Birchfield, WTOL 11.